Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
And welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, as the New York Mets continue their series with the Washington Nationals. Game 3 as they look to take the first 2 out of 3 here in this 4-game wraparound series that extends into Monday afternoon. Really weird. You don't see a lot of wraparound series in baseball. I can't remember the Mets playing them super often. It seems like a kind of relatively new thing in Major League Baseball. I don't really like it, if I'm being honest with you. Sunday should be the final day of any series, but regardless, the Mets will continue this 4-game series into tomorrow, but can at least secure a split with a win today after getting a bounce-back win on Saturday. 2-0 victory. Francisco Alvarez with a 2-run homer. All the offense the Mets would need in that one as they pitched their 5th shutout of the season here through 27 games already. Just another testament to how excellent this pitching staff has been. It wasn't all good, though. Obviously, we know the news about A.J. Minter as well. We're going to get into it all, plus preview, of course, today's game here for the Mets and Nats. But before I do that, housekeeping duties as usual. I'm Tony Metro. If you guys are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. I do daily Mets content. We do pregame streams. We do postgame recaps and so much more. You could also follow all my stuff in the bio below. This was supposed to keep playing. What happened? Oh, well. We do all of our stuff. And it's always on my channel and all my other stuff. You can follow me in the bio down below. So let's get into it. Sound off in the chat, by the way. What do you guys think? What is your prediction for the final score here this afternoon between the Mets and the Nationals? So obviously, nice for the Mets to get a 2-0 win yesterday. Would have been nice to see a little bit more offense. It was great to have Edwin Diaz close the door yesterday. He walks the leadoff batter, then strikes out the next 3 of that inning. So great to see that. But it wasn't all good news because A.J. Minter was summoned in the 8th inning, and then after getting the first out, he takes an awkward landing on his left side or right side after he delivers a pitch. SMY speculates, is it his hip? He just had hip surgery in the offseason that kind of delayed him in spring training, but instead it turns out we get the news that he was suffering from some tricep inflammation, which obviously is never a good sign. It turns out to actually be a lat strain for A.J. Minter, and the Mets have placed him on the 15-day injured list. So let's go ahead and listen to what Minter had to say about it after the game.
Yeah, I can't remember what pitch it was, but it was about 2 pitches or a pitch before. You can see me kind of move my tricep around a little bit, tightened up. I threw that last pitch was a cutter, and I felt my tricep, and don't know exactly how long, what we're looking at. Get imaging tomorrow and see where we're at, and but yes, tricep, and we'll see what the damage is tomorrow.
Yeah, so obviously it turns out the damage for him is the lat. The Mets put him on the 15-day IL. Minter's never had a lat issue before or tricep issues before. This is something new. Like we thought it could have been his hip. The way he was landing was kind of awkward on his delivery, and that's what Ronnie and Gary were speculating in the booth last night when they came out to take a look at Minter on the mound. Hopefully, like Minter said, this is just a short little thing. He can get back to helping the team because they really need him. He has been awesome in the 7th inning, in the 8th inning. He's basically been co-setup man with Ryan Stanek getting the ball to Edwin Diaz. Obviously on Friday, he gives up that game-winning hit, but really to no fault of his own. He started 0-2 on James Wood. It did go to 3-2, but it was a soft tapper up the middle that Jeff McNeil should have had. He's been excellent. 1.64 ERA so far on the year here in 13 games for the Mets coming over from the Braves. So hopefully it is a very speedy recovery for A.J. Minter. Are you guys concerned about him? I mean, I am a little bit, because I do think he's essential to this bullpen being as good as it has been so far, and hopefully it will continue to be throughout the rest of the year. But in the meantime, the Mets have called up Jose Urena, who they signed to a minor league contract during this offseason. Urena's a journeyman. This is now his 10th season in the big leagues. He has traveled well. This will be his 7th big league club when he debuts here with the Mets. He is 33 years old. 6 years with the Marlins. That's probably where you remember remember him best from. That's how I remembered him coming up as a starter, but he's really kind of served in a lot of different roles, a swingman out of the bullpen, a starter, and he's done a little bit of everything. So we'll see what the Mets can get out of Urania. Last year with Texas had a pretty decent ERA, 3.80 in 109 innings pitched, and that again speaks to him being able to basically pitch in any type of role. He made some starts for them, he pitched for some long relief, and then even some situational stuff for the Rangers last year. His FIP, though, would suggest that he didn't pitch as well as he actually did. So maybe the beneficiary of some good defense or the ballpark factors down there in Arlington. We'll see what we can get out of him. Hopefully it's a short-term thing for AJ Minter. My question, though, is where is Dednell Nunez? You know, Dednell Nunez was basically the Mets' best reliever in the middle of last season before he went down with injury. We know he came back, he pitched one game, and then was again out for the remainder of the year and did not pitch in the playoffs, of course. You know, we were pretty set on Dednell Nunez being a big part of this bullpen. We know that the Mets slowed him a little bit in spring training, had him take a little bit of an extended rehab assignment there. And we haven't really heard much word on him. It turns out he's actually been pitching in AAA, and he's kind of been struggling as well. His numbers are not great. It is a 2.25 whip. So that's not exactly great. But the stuff appears to be there because his fastball has been touching 99 miles per hour. So while the numbers aren't good and maybe the results haven't been good, it does look like he has the stuff again. So I don't know if Nunez is a possibility to be recalled. The Mets really haven't had a need for any replacement relievers because everyone in the bullpen, for the most part, has been excellent. But that is definitely something that I will be keeping an eye on. And then, meanwhile, other news for the Mets, Ronnie Mauricio, the long forgotten now, it seems, Ronnie Mauricio beginning a minor league rehab assignment. So we know Mauricio came up in 2023 at the end of the year, had a really solid final month of the season. The OPS left a little to be desired, but he looked like he'd be a dynamic, super fun player to watch. Of course, he plays winter ball in the Dominican then after that season and tears his ACL. So 2024 was, for the most part, going to be a lost season, but he lost the entirety of it because of scar tissue in that knee after the surgery on the ACL. So he did not play at all in 2024. He did start playing in Gulf Coast League and was tearing it up as expected. I mean, playing against 18, 19-year-olds down there. But now he officially begins a minor league rehab assignment for the Mets. So I'm excited to see how he looks. You know, he looked really like an exciting, fun player when he came up in 2023. But I don't expect him to get called up anytime soon. I think it's going to be only if there are some serious injuries to someone like Luis Angel Acuna, God forbid, knock on wood, Francisco Lindor, someone like that. He has a lot to prove still, obviously missing an entire year, nearly a year and a half now at this point. So he's definitely going to basically be treated with kid gloves, in my opinion, and he's got to prove himself all over again. But still, good news. And if Mauricio could be anything like we expected him to be when he came up as the Mets' #1 prospect in their system, it'll be just another dynamic that they can add to this offense. So with all that out of the way, now let's take a look at the Mets and Nats game today. Tyler McGill versus Mitchell Parkers. The Mets look to secure at least a split with the Nats in this 4-game series. So Tyler McGill making his 6th start of the year. What can you say about Big Drip? The dude has been awesome. Dating back to the final day of August last year in 2024, he pitched wonderful in September, 6 starts during that time, and it's only continued here into the early part of 2025. 5 starts so far, a minuscule 1.09 ERA. His last time out versus Philly, 5 1/3 innings pitched, just 1 hit, a blooper into center field while striking out 10. Absolute dominance. You know, his pitch count got a little high because he was seeking those strikeouts, but anytime you could carve up that Phillies lineup the way he did, it's a good sign. So it's been awesome. Hasn't allowed a home run this year in 25 innings pitched. I mean, think about that. Has not allowed a single homer in 25 innings. I mean, unbelievable. And this probably is not fool's gold. If you look at his FIP, fielding independent pitching, which takes away ballpark factors and the fielding behind you, that is at 2.18. So obviously it's a full run higher than his ERA. But if he was pitching to a 2.18 ERA, we'd be pretty stoked about that too. We know a 1.09 ERA is not sustainable unless you're Jacob deGrom circa 2021. Tyler McGill has been awesome, and it looks like he's here to stay. I mean, he really wants to be a part of this rotation, it looks like, even when Sean Manaea and Frankie Montas get back. So he will be taking on the Nationals lineup, which has been pretty pesky. I know they didn't score any runs yesterday. The Mets shut them out, but they have been a very annoying bunch, I have to say. They obviously scored 5 runs in the walk-off win on Friday, shutout yesterday. CJ Abrams was 1 for 4 yesterday. He leads things off. James Wood, their talented top prospect, was 1 for 4 yesterday. He had the game winner on Friday. Luis Garcia Jr. has been a thorn in the Mets' side so far. 3 hits on Friday, 2 more yesterday. Absolute demon. He just gets up for these games against the Mets. Nathaniel Lowe has been held in check. He's hitting cleanup and playing first base for the Nats. Josh Bell has also not done a whole lot. No hits in the series, actually, so nothing at all. He hits 5th. Dylan Cruz is back in the lineup. 2 hits on Saturday. He is a speedster. Jose Tena has also been very, very annoying for the Mets this weekend. 1 for 4 on Saturday after a couple hits on Friday. Also made some really nice defensive plays at third base, so credit to him. Alex Call's in the lineup. He had 304 so far this year in a limited amount of time with the Nats, on about 50 at-bats or so. Not a prospect. He's 30 years old, but can put some wood on the ball at least. And then Riley Adams, backup catcher, and they're rounding things out for the Nationals. So keys from Gill, I mean, same pretty much as what I said yesterday for Clay Holmes. This is a young team. They are fastball hunters. They do not hit the breaking ball well. Keep doing it. Keep them off balance. McGill's been using a slider and sinker slider mix so far this year. He's throwing the slider and the sinker more now than he ever has in his career, and he's throwing his 4-seam fastball less than he ever has throughout his career. Keep doing that today. Just keep them off balance. Don't give them too many fastballs. If you do, keep it up in the zone. That's what they're seeking, those low fastballs. That's what young teams do. If he does that, he limits the walks like he did against the Phillies and has improved greatly on in the last calendar year. He should be okay, and Big Drip will continue to pitch well. So excited to see how he does in Nationals Park. Career versus the Nationals, actually not great numbers if you can believe it. I mean, you would think like his numbers against the Phillies or against the Braves would be among the worst against NL East opponents. That's not the case. So far in his career against the Nationals, 4.38 ERA over 4.84 ERA over 35 innings pitched in 8 appearances. 7 of those were starts. He did not face them, though, in 2024. So obviously a different lineup for the Nationals than the ones he's used to facing in the past. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. How do you feel McGill will do today? Give me his final line. I'm going to predict 6 innings. He'll only go to the 6th inning for the 2nd time this year. 2 runs. I think the Nationals will do something today, but I do believe the Mets will win this game. I'll save that for the end. Welcome into the chat, guys. Jonathan, what's up? We got this. Nats pay the troll toll. That's right. Francisco Alvarez going deep yesterday. I thought that was a homer immediately off the bat. Gary Cohen got fooled by it. He was like, and that one's down the right field line. Home run. I mean, that was a laser beam of a shot off the bat of Francisco Alvarez. Love to see that. He's taken some pretty good at-bats so far coming back from his injury and from his minor league assignment. I can't say the same about Jeff McNeil, who is not in the Mets lineup today. 8 innings shutout, Jonathan says, from Tyler McGill. That is bold. If we get that, man, I'll be doing a dance here in my place. That would be awesome, and that would save the bullpen again. Hopefully the Mets can actually score a bunch of runs today, something they haven't been doing on a consistent basis, and save the bullpen, which has been taxed greatly in this series so far. They got the off day Thursday, and then Friday they needed to use it a lot, and then yesterday, partly because of the rain delay. But another good performance from Clay Holmes yesterday. 5 innings pitched, no runs allowed. Unfortunately, those rain delays shortened it for him. But let's take a look at the Mets lineup for today. It's pretty similar to what we've seen against left-handers. They're going up against Mitchell Parker, who we'll talk about in a second. But Lindor, Soto, Alonso, Vientos, Marte, Nimmo, Torrens, Acuna, and Taylor. So no Jeff McNeil in there. Luis Angel Acuna getting the start at second base. Starling Marte getting the start at DH with the left-hander on the mound. Tyrone Taylor back in there. And then Luis Torrens catching a day game after night game in place of Francisco Alvarez. So I like this lineup. You know, the 1 through 3 has not changed at all this year. Those 3 guys, Lindor, Soto, Alonso, have started every single game so far this year. Good day for Lindor yesterday. 3 hits in his first 3 at-bats, including that bunt single, which was a beauty. I mean, there's some plays in baseball that, like, they're so small and they're not that big a deal. The glove flip in the infield for me is one of them, but a bunt single like that goes all the way down the line to the base or past it, that is so sick. I loved it. So good day for Lindor, bouncing back from a pretty rough one on Friday. Juan Soto, man, I don't know, man. I'm not trying to cause drama, but this dude has got to get it going because he has not looked good at the plate. I mean, he is missing just absolute candy, just meatballs down the middle, and he just looks out of sorts. So hopefully Soto will get it going. Alonso with a pretty solid start in this road stand so far. I guess it's only a 4-game road trip here to Washington. The Mets return home after this series. Mark Vientos has looked pretty good. Another bloop hit yesterday. It was almost a carbon copy of his bloop triple on Friday. His only went for a mere single, as Gary Cohen said yesterday. But just good to see some of them falling for Vientos, man. He was having such bad luck in the beginning of the year where he was hitting the ball hard and wasn't getting results. Now he's not really hitting the ball all that hard, but he's getting results. So take it any way you can get it. These things even out after over a full 162. So let's see who else. Love that Luis Angel Acuna is in there, man. He got robbed of a hit yesterday. Absolutely sprayed a line drive to right field that Dylan Cruz was able to make a diving catch on. That dude's always laying out even when he doesn't need to. But he put up some pretty good at-bats. Also hit a hard ball up the middle. They were shifted that way. That's a base hit 10 years ago. What are you going to do? But I love what I've seen out of Luis Angel Acuna so far. Happy to see him in the lineup as well. And then Marte, obviously, the hero on Wednesday against the Phillies with the walk-off hit. First time we will see him again here in the starting lineup since then. So they're going to be taking on Mitchell Parker of the Nationals, who has had a really solid start to his 2025. Left-hander, like I said, the southpaw was a 5th-round pick in 2020, 24th ranked Nats prospect. So it doesn't have that super high prospect pedigree, but he has been awesome so far in the early going. 5 starts to this point, a 1.39 ERA over 32 innings. Not a big strikeout guy, though, only 20 during that time, but he also does not issue a lot of free passes, just 11 over those 32 innings. So solid stuff there, but the Mets got to him last year as a rookie. He made 2 starts against the Mets, one of them coming in July. He has a 9.31 ERA over 10 innings. That July start, 6 innings pitched, 5 earned runs on 5 hits at Nats Park. Francisco Lindor, Mark Vientos, and Tyrone Taylor all taking him deep in that one. And then he made another start against the Mets in September at Citi Field. Lasted just 3 2/3 innings, gave up 5 runs on 7 hits. Francisco Alvarez with a homer, Luis Angel Acuna, and Tyrone Taylor with doubles in that one. So this is a guy that the Mets have hit before. Obviously, he is a prospect that's, putting it together, it looks like, so far here in year 2. Not sure if the Mets will get to him the way they did in the 2 starts he had against them last year, but they have touched him up before. And I've been saying this, I said this yesterday as I try to recenter myself. I want to just see the Mets offense go balls to the wall. I mean, can we just get a game where the Mets blow out for 3 runs in the first and 2 runs in the third and 2 more in the fifth? Like, can we have a 7-0 game where I'm not sitting and wringing my hands in the 7th and the 8th inning when Danny Young is coming in and when Edwin Diaz walks the leadoff batter? Like, this is the lineup we thought on paper was going to hit a bunch of home runs. And honestly, it starts with Juan Soto not doing a whole lot. Like, let's be real about it. He has not done what we were expecting him to do. I'm not calling him out yet, but at a certain point, we got to start seeing some of that power that we were promised for $765 million. So I would love to see the Mets finally just have an offensive explosion against this Nats team. I said it in my series preview of this. The Nationals had the worst bullpen ERA entering this 4-game set. They have totally held the Mets in check so far. I mean, they scored no runs against them yesterday. They're fortunate to get those 4 runs on Friday. Obviously the Nimmo infield single followed by a bloop triple from Mark Vientos. Other than that, I mean, the Mets bats have really been quieted so far. So I'd love to see them have an explosion today, score a bunch of runs early and often, and make this one an absolute laugher. Couldn't we be so lucky if we just did that every game, right? Baseball would be so easy if that's how it worked. Danny Adams, what's your confidence level with McGill starting today? Scale of 1 to 10. I mean, I got to give it like an 8.5 right now. Like, how could you not? Like, McGill has been so good so far this year. Like I said, the numbers 1.09 ERA over his first 5 starts. Absolutely torched that Phillies lineup for 10 strikeouts, just 1 hit and 5 1/3. Big drip. Looks like he's here to stay. The SNY broadcast and reporters have said multiple times how McGill has made it very clear he wants to stay in this rotation. Going back to last year when he returned from his minor league assignment, that he was sick of getting up and down from the minors to the majors. He's clearly made some adjustments thanks to that pitching lab, and it looks like it's paying off. We were saying how the decision of who of Luis Angel Acuna or Brett Beatty would be sent down, how it would be difficult when Jeff McNeil returned. No. I think the most difficult decision that the Mets are going to face so far now this year is when Sean Manaea and Frankie Montas get healthy, because Tyler McGill has been excellent. And oh, by the way, Griffin Canning, almost as good as well. So the Mets rotation continues to be tops in the majors. I'm expecting another great start from Tyler McGill. Again, this lineup hopefully can start scoring some runs on a consistent basis. That's really what's the only inconsistency that we've seen from this team this year. The bullpen has been steadfast in getting the job done for the most part. Couple peaks and valleys there, especially with Edwin Diaz, but he's been getting the job done. We'll see what happens now with AJ Minter down, how they adjust to that. Obviously, the starting pitching, like I said, top ERA in all of baseball. But the offense, it's been feast or it's been famine. And I would honestly say so far in the series, despite scoring 4 on Friday, they only scored 2 yesterday. It's been famine so far this weekend against what was supposed to be a really weak Nationals pitching staff. So it's only going to get harder today because Mitchell Parker has looked really solid to begin his sophomore season. But I do believe the Mets will take this one today. I'm expecting them to win. Final score of 5-2. I'll take it any way we can get it, though. We're going to have a post-game recap right here on my channel at the conclusion of this one. Hopefully a dub. By the way, guys, you can also now call into my show here on my Discord. You can just copy and paste that link or type it into your browser or on your phone. You get in there, and then I'll set you up, and hopefully I can make it work. I haven't done it yet. We're going to experiment a little bit, so you could be the debut caller on one of my streams here. Just call into the Discord that is right here in this yellow, or I guess orange text right down there. So that is going to do it for right now. Mets versus Nationals, Game 3. Mets looking to secure at least a split of this 4-game series heading into the finale on Monday. That's going to do it. I'm Tony Metro. Until next time, stay true to the orange and blue.